to stretch their emotional capacity just to accommodate you while you ignore the work you need to do around your own self-regulation. Sometimes it's not that you are wrong, but whenever you are led by emotions in your delivery instead of clarity, you lose objectivity, and with that, the communication scatters. And before you say people don't to be spoken to just anyhow, what happens most times is that we lock ourselves up in the intensity of the emotions we are feeling in that moment, and we think whatever we say or anyhow we say it is justified. And when the person reacts, we are quick to say they are being manipulative. Maybe it's not manipulation on their part. They are human enough to deserve some honor and deserve some dignity even in your anger. Your anger doesn't justify your means of delivery. And one way to learn how to communicate better is to introduce a time gap between your trigger and your response. Because if you respond in the moment as it is doing you, we both know the delivery will be bad. See, your partner, siblings, friends, colleagues, or whoever need to know that they can make genuine mistakes around you and not be torn apart with your words. And kindly stop saying this is just the way I am when I'm angry. No, that's how you've learned to communicate, and you can unlearn that. You see, when a person who has learned self-regulation meets someone who is emotionally mature, their communication is always better. So my dear, which one do you need to work on? Self-regulation or your emotional maturity? The answer is in your heart right now. Then
cling to the belief that no one understands our struggles, as if they are unique to us alone. This lie, however, is more of a defense mechanism, shielding us from the fear of being unheard or impassively dismissed in our moments of vulnerability. Consider this. We're known to passionately defend even the smallest matters. Why not channel that same masculine energy into debunking the myths in our minds created by our past traumas? Imagine the progress we could make if we openly shared our experiences. I remember during the time when I felt isolated in my own struggles. And it was only after speaking with several men and openly expressing what I was going through that I realized that they too shared similar stories. This was not only comforting and confirming that I wasn't alone, but it was also empowering. Men, it's time to break the cycle of suffering in silence. Let's encourage open conversations and seek support when needed. By confronting these untruths, we pave the way not only towards personal healing, but also towards a collective strength, power, empathy, and a sound mind.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Unspoken, the podcast. My name is Zado Kadele. I'm sure you've enjoyed the short clips that we started with. Today we'll be talking on topic, redefining masculine communication. And as usual, you know I don't come alone. I come with the greatest group on the planet to me, right? Because I believe they have the best insights. To you, well, you will always learn. But for me, for every time I'm on this show, I learn from everyone here. So I'll let them do the introductions.
I remain Dr. Chukuma. Thanks for bringing me on.
Welcome, sir.
My name is Sejiri Joanna Tialobi. Thank you for having me here.
Welcome.
And my name is Oyetunji Tinolua. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you very much. So, those clips, you want to react to them?
Yes. I want to say that the problem is that over the ages, we've built, let's say, norms or cultures that are actually detrimental to the man. It used to be the man's world, okay? Men calls they call the shot. But then the fact is that we have come to understand that the culture we built over the ages is not helpful. A man is a human being, and whatever that robs me of my emotions, robs me of my humanity. If anything makes me to bottle up my emotions, whatever that makes me to deny what is going on within me, is making me to deny my humanity. Mm-hmm. So I think it is time we begin to teach ourselves, help ourselves to own up and to be who we are. Open up, share our emotions, and communicate as we should. Okay. That's what I want to, for now.
Okay. Your own 2 cents?
Really, I think I would agree so much with the first speaker, and even with the second video too. We find ourselves in a society where being blunt has become celebrated as being maybe logical sometimes, or being elite, you know, or a sort of wokeness. However, those who are advocates of being blunt, coincidentally, when they become the when they are the receiving end of other people's bluntness, they begin to cry wolf and they begin to form victim. So that leads me to the question: what is really being blunt? Why do people get hurt when other people are blunt with them? Okay, that means that being blunt is not really what they call being blunt. It should be being direct. You know, you can be direct, speak in a clear manner, concise manner, without ambiguity, right? Other than being blunt to hurt, or be aggressive, or be condescending, right? So that is why people say it is not what he said, or how he said it that hurts me, the mode of delivery. So if you are in your emotions, I really like the first video. One of our ability as mature people is that that's why we are better than animals. You know, that's one thing my father would always say then, my late father. He would say then I was always, you know, like argumentative. You know, I'm the only girl in the midst of two boys. It's not an easy.
You have to level up.
You are always arguing with the first one who wants to impose seniority, or you are trying to impose your own seniority on the younger one who is saying no. You know, so I'm always arguing and all. And then one day my daddy said, "What is all this nonsense? You guys have emotions, but you have the power to control your emotions, because that's what makes you better than animals. A goat is hungry. It goes to where they say it should not go to. You carry a stick, you hit it, it will go back to that same place. It's guided by the emotions. So as human beings, you are meant to self-regulate. I am angry. Does that mean that while I'm expressing my anger, I have to make the other person also mad with my choice of words? Self-regulation. So how do I attain that self-regulation? In the heat of the moment, you pause. You can do that, and then you now convey. For example, maybe I and we are arguing, and then he says something that hurts me, and I'm like, I don't like what he said, sir. What he said hurts me. If he replies me and tells me that, oh, I didn't know you were hurt, that would be like gaslighting. Or, oh, I didn't mean to hurt you with that. That was not my intention. You are taking ownership that I felt hurt by what you
said.
You understand? So these things will make communication clearer and easier. But by the time you tell me that, that means that you are telling me that I am the problem.
Okay.
You understand? And then if I refuse to accept, you begin to say, you see, that's what we are saying. You don't want to take accountability.
So does that mean we have a problem of effective communication?
I think being blunt. People who often say they are blunt usually don't even understand how to communicate their feelings respectfully in a clear manner, like they think they are doing. What they're doing is to hurt the other person, to show that you're beneath me, you know, that I can lash out at you, to show superiority in expression. And at the end of the day, that is not even communication. You have succeeded in alienating that person. Because I won't want to be communicating regularly with somebody who makes me feel small. You understand? All in the name of I am blunt. And men do this a lot. So sometimes they want to shy away from accepting their faults.
Not just men.
Women, yeah, we do it. But this podcast is about men. So we are.
But I think.
Okay.
All right. So, Itunu, do you agree with her?
Yeah.
Totally. 100%.
Yes, because because like she has been saying, like to be blunt is to communicate without empathy. When you might be right to feel some type of way, but then when you want to communicate your feeling, you should be able to communicate it with empathy. And I'm sure communication is not only about just speaking. It's also about listening. It's also about your gesture, about your eye contact, the way you listen, the way the way you react when you listen. So it's not just about speaking, because like
so it's about speaking and decoding. So it's about you speaking and the person who's listening being able to comprehend.
What he's
and
saying
understand.
is, being blunt is not only when you are doing the speaking. It could even be when you are listening, and you are giving like, is this madman? Has he started
What's
again?
this one saying?
seriously, like people can be like that.
So that gesture is also being.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also
But what
being-
if the person is just used to gesticulating?
That's bad. You should correct that if it is wrong.
The one thing I understand is people in this side of the world. When there was this podcast I was listening to. It was how to behave in the corporate world in the UK.
Yep.
And then you see Nigerians that normally the way we are in Nigeria, like even in the corporate setting, there's still kind of an informal way of communicating. And then when they get out there, they realize that this system is totally different, and they need to adapt with the system. So you need to also learn to communicate and to listen when because there's this thing they call in the UK like whistleblowing, like when maybe someone brings a job to you like and they didn't do it well, and you need to communicate to them about like, oh, this job you should have done this. You shouldn't tell them when I peruse this document, I saw that there's an error on this, but I understand you've done an handwork, but we need efficiency for our clients. That's you being assertive, and that's you also acknowledging their efforts towards what they've done.
Being objective.
Yeah.
So
Basically.
not rubbishing what they say outrightly.
Yeah.
But what if the men now, because we're now talking of communication, right?
Yeah.
Redefining communication for men, masculinity, right?
Yeah.
Now, what if the men actually think, oh, by being firm? Most times I think maybe they're not trying to be disrespectful, but they just think, oh, by being firm, that you understand, their words will be taken more seriously.
Well,
You can be firm without being rude and
Nasty,
aggressive or nasty. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
But for some people are that some people are all out that, but they're kind of people that when they're in the room they are all out there. They kind of take charge, kind of take control.
well, those kind of people, they call them people of war. They don't know how to keep peace, and the Bible told us to be at peace with all men. And there's no way you can be at peace with all
Even
men.
regarding the woman, the Bible says it is better to avoid the contentious woman. Abi?
Yeah.
So there is in no way where contention, aggressiveness, being blunt should be tolerated, whether from men or from women. If you like peace, but if you are in Daboski, you live
Why
for
don't be a
war.
man of war?
Man, well, then that's your...
Just
your
like this our current legend. I don't want to.
I know where you're going.
He seems to like war. He does not like peace.
He's always at war. No,
like I said before, what we believe to be the right thing, which is the wrong thing, that as a man, I must,
I must make my presence felt. I must have the last decision. I must have the last say.
I think it's one of our biggest problems. We have to relearn. We have to tell ourselves that is not who the definition of masculinity.
I think men are beginning to. Men are not getting to understand. You see, when they said the man is the head of the house, one thing I found is this now: the head sometimes can be ceremonial, because without their neck, the man is the head, the woman is the neck.
Yeah.
Now the neck, now they turn that head. So
If we want you to go this way, you have no.
now that neck, they turn that head. If you really want peace, like you said, all you just need to do is once you are at once you are in communion with your neck, you will be fine, because it means you will be aligning towards the same direction, even when your thoughts might be divergent. There will be points where you will be able to reach compromise. Right? So, but I think it's just what's been done before. Personally, I think I've experienced where you've got this understanding that, oh, I need to keep pace, I need to show understanding, I need to empathize and sympathize in situations. Okay, for me, when I find myself having conversation, or I find myself in situations, I do this, maybe, okay, I have training in customer service. What I do is always to listen, to understand, If I think I'm not getting enough understanding, I seek clarification. Now, when I seek clarification, I try to understand. Depending on the situation, I ask myself, do I sympathize? Do I empathize? Is there a reason for me to sympathize or empathize? And then, depending on the conversation, there are times where you need to manage expectation. And then I do, okay, this is how I want to handle it. Now, but when you do that, some older people, they reach out to you. I'm like, no, you don't do that. You stamp your authority. You put your foot down and you begin to ask yourself, are we at war? And then you look at these same people and then you look at their situationships.
I think the reason why those older
you see
people
their
are saying
situationships
that is
and
because
you find them struggling.
Sorry, it's because they've not really communicated with Gen Zs. They communicate with millennials, you know. We know with millennials, we have respect a lot, and you know what you're about, Samantiju.
Are you saying Gen Zs don't have respect?
Let's not go there. You already know the answer.
If you're talking about Gen Zs, the Gen Alphas, it's okay.
But let's just focus on Gen Z. Gen Alphas, those ones are another kettle of fish, you know. So I think what you're trying to say is that there are contexts where people also frown at those who are polite in their speech and see them as weaklings. Yes. That is why I want to subscribe.
You should be more decisive.
That is the hallmark of, you know, being masculine.
Being in charge, you know, like when you, and for me, I think personally.
Okay, now let me ask you a question. When a man is being blunt, some circle of the society will hail him as being masculine, being true. But when a woman is also being blunt, what happens?
She's rude.
Something is wrong.
She's meant to be, yes, because according to them, she's meant to be subject to her husband.
I think we should be clear before diving into this conversation of when a man or when a woman.
No. Where I'm going to is being blunt should not be hailed as masculine at all.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, in either case, it is not good.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So if you are being polite and somebody sees you as a weakling, it is not on you. It is on the other person's perspective. So you shouldn't be under any pressure to change your person to become a blunt or aggressive person to suit their own expectation of you. That's wrong. Sometimes when we find ourselves in a society that they persecute those who try to do right, and then they hail those who do wrong. So we shouldn't find ourselves in a place trying to compromise or bow to pressure to be acceptable or to get a validation when we know that that thing is actually very wrong.
But in the workplace, actually, I think sometimes men tend to be more of being aggressive in the workplace, maybe because of their subordinates, because they feel, if I'm not assertive, if they don't see me taking charge, I have to lead the way. Probably they won't fall in line.
Well, like she said, there's no need trying to be what you're not.
Yeah. But you know, sometimes it's also about the optics.
Well, the optics will see what you're trying to do. Like, if there are people if they are knowledgeable people and people that are experienced in human character and maybe human behavior, you'll understand that when it's not when you're being aggressive or when you're being assertive without being empathetic about the next person. When people even see that, they can tell that this person, that's what you call a leader. When you see a leader does not just rubbish the followers' work or rubbish them. You have to make them understand, like, okay, we see what you're doing. I see you, I hear you, but this is what I need from you. So that is you being assertive and also being empathetic towards them. So there's when I was reading before coming for this podcast, like I was just reading about it and everything, and I saw there's a technique used in that. It's called sandwich technique in communicating, maybe in the office or wherever. Sandwich technique, whereby the top bond is you being empathetic, you being just serving empathy. Okay, I see you, I hear you. Then the whatever is in the beef inside is like you being correct and correct them. This is being assertive. Then the bottom bone is for you to just, okay, we've corrected you, now receiving you back, like you forward to Bomowi if it was
but that's also for some people, they believe in the carrot and sticks approach.
Okay.
So the carrot and stick approach is, you do well, I reward you. You mess up, I cane you.
Now, you can cane with love. This is why we always run back to God. You know, when God, I remember, I'm a Christian, so I always make reference to the Bible. When God was rebuking David for counting the Israelites, you know, he wasn't supposed to count them at that time, and he did. And God said, pick out of 3 options. Either you fall to the Philistines or you do this. And David said, it is better to fall into the hands of the living God because his mercy is sure, you know. When you know that this person is correcting you in love, you tend to take the correction. Do you understand? But when you know this person is always talking, there are some leaders, they use bluntness to hide their insecurity.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Or the need to claim superiority. Okay, they feel challenged when you see when they see their subordinates with better ideas. You know, there are sometimes that people are zealous and they are carried away, and they forget that they need to seek their leader's opinion and approval and permission. You can bring them back in love and tell them, no, this is not in line with the vision of the organization. Okay, but why don't we do it this way? Do it this way. This way, it's better. Don't say, do you think I don't have sense? Do you think I rose up to this position? If it's easy, why can't you come and sit? You try to bring them down. You can say the same thing in more polite way. That is what we are saying. Be clear, be direct. What is your goal? What they've brought to you is not in line with the organization goal. Can you express it in that way without bringing them down? That's what we're saying. So not just in the workplace, even on one-on-one relationship with friends. Okay, you see, I always pay attention to jabs from my friends. I love it a lot because a lot of their perspective about you are conveyed in that jabs.
Banter.
So banter. I pay attention, close attention to it, and I like to trigger it a lot because I like to know what my friends are thinking about. So it helps me to be able to know how far I can be vulnerable with them. You understand? So if I confide in you about something, are you going to use it in a derogatory way to mock me in the guise of your bantering and all of that? So we're not just saying that you cannot be firm when you are clear, but when you always hide under being blunt and you hurt people is wrong. You can correct. Yeah. You can correct, but let it be in love. Do it politely. And there are times when you have done 1 correction, 2 correction, 3 corrections, 4 corrections, and you are saying that this gentle whatever is not working. No, use the hammer. At that time, you are justified. Okay. You are justified at that time. So there are sometimes, that's what the Bible says, if your right hand will not allow you to make heaven, you do what? Cut it off. Okay. So that's it. So we're not saying that. There are some people that will take you for granted. That's why we have the use of boundaries. You understand? To bring a balance to it.
All right. There are questions I would like to ask you, but we'll do that after the break, sir.
With men, women need to understand that as women, yes, we're sensitive and emotional. Men, not so much. But don't get me wrong. It's not that they don't have feelings or that they can't be sensitive at times. Their biology is just different than ours. A healthy man has a lot more testosterone than a woman, which makes them much more logical, single-focused, and aggressive than women. These are the very qualities that make men good providers and protectors. So instead of trying to change them into being more sensitive, try changing your approach when talking to them. Here's 3 quick tips. Number 1, timing is everything. Number 2, get to the point quickly. And number 3, remember, it's not so much about what you say as it is about how you say it. Your tone of voice can make all the difference in the world.
Welcome back. So, sir, I want to ask, can we say because men are providers, like the video has said, men are providers, are protectors, they're all out there, they're probably some of the men who are stuck in aggressive mode or stuck in certain ways of communication, it's just due to survival instincts. They are stuck in their survival instincts, and it's for some of them, that survival instinct is just a wall, it's just a facade they've built around themselves over time to protect that good-hearted nature in them.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't agree with that. I would say that we should grow up. We should be matured. Okay, I should be able to have a control of my emotions. In fact, I think I should bring this in. Jesus, he was brutally scourged, beaten, hanged on the cross, was hanging on his hands, and yet he was able to not allow his emotions to control him. He said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they're doing. Yes, so I wouldn't say because I want to say, I know that, like what my sister said, most of, especially the boroughs, they will hide behind insecurity. I know someone who actually dealt with me. I will put it that way. I never understood it that way. It was later that I confided in another person who said, are you sure he's not threatened by you? That was when I now saw the picture. Do you understand? You don't just talk to people like that, crush them. Even when they made mistakes, you should appreciate what they've done.
Right.
And then you now correct what they did wrong. So what I want to say is that we should grow up. We should be able to handle our emotions. We should be able to handle every other thing. I shouldn't say because I want to survive, I want to get there, I should crush everyone around me, or I should, try to paint people bad for people to see my shining. I think so. Yeah.
So would you say emotional intelligence is key for all?
For everybody, emotional intelligence is very important. You should know your trigger. You should know when to walk away from a conversation. You should know when to say, can you give me some time to think over it and come back? You understand? You should know when to take on the spot decision. One thing that has helped me is to be able to put a little time. When I'm in the moment of my emotions, I try not to make decisions in that time. I like to think over it, and because I know how powerful words are, right? So Yoruba will say that they're like raw eggs.
Yeah.
Once you dash it on the floor, it breaks, scatters. You can't, So that's the same with words. Just like in the Bible, where King Herod had already give promise that told Herodias, the daughter dancing, that tell me anything up to half of my kingdom I'm going to give to you. And she said the head of John the Baptist, and said, I've given my word. And same with God. God said he honors his word. So words are really powerful. Exactly. So you can bring people down with your words, and you can also bring them up. And if you choose not to grow up to work on yourself, if you are the kind of person that you pride yourself on being blunt, you discover at the end of the day you may end up becoming isolated, because there is only so much people can take. When you keep bashing them,
the people that are around the person are the people that just don't have tenacity. He's trying to make the best out of them, but they are not tenacious enough. They don't seem to get it. They feel it's just coming hard at them. The thing is, for you to get this thing, for you to get a diamond to shine, you have to polish it, and the polishing stage is never easy.
It's not. Pressure is different. Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to say that when you discipline me with love, or when you correct me with love, I will be drawn towards you. Okay. I know there are people that are harsh and hard, and they find it difficult raising people. Okay, Elijah was one of them. He couldn't, and when Elisha picked up, Elijah couldn't even have a successor. Why? Because he was harsh and hard on the one he heard that would have received a double portion. And because of that, he died of a broken heart. When he saw the Syrians and what they would do to Israel, the man wept. The great man of God. So what I want to say is this: I must correct with love, and that is what will help me to build people under me. Okay? So yes, she says something the first time, the second time, the fourth time, then you may be disciplined, or there's a way you ask. Okay, I'm sorry, I will always come to the Bible. I read a lot. Now, Saul or Paul, who thought Mark was a useless, not good enough, and he dumped him. Later on in life, said, please send me John Mark. He is useful for me.
The same John Mark that caused his separation.
Yes, between him and Barnabas. What am I trying to say? If he had corrected with love, John Mark would have been, the ministry of Paul and Barnabas would have broken up, and I believe they would have done greater work than what they did separately. So, the how is most important, not just the correction,
Pastor said it all. Like, there's nothing more I can say than just to emotional intelligence, self-regulate yourself. If if you don't understand, ask questions and read the room as well.
Yes.
Like, read the room if it's the time to talk or if it's time to just.
Okay, but there are times you can see your.
But in this part of the world, when you're asking questions, when you're seeing clarification, there are some looks they give you. They begin to look at you like, you dumb boy, you're just stupid.
That means they don't have emotional intelligence. That means they are not good people. Yeah. So it's not your fault. We're talking about you now. We're not talking about the way people would see you. We're talking about you yourself. So.
And again, how do you ask for the clarification?
Okay.
Do you understand? Okay. So it's a two-way thing. How do you ask for the clarification?
So
I want to comment on what he said.
If I ask you to shed more light.
Yes, please. You're being polite already. So you should, if it's taken anyhow, it is no longer on you. It is on them. Okay. I want to emphasize on what he said. Read the room. It is one aspect of emotional intelligence that I think is very important. If I see my friend coming stressed, or my husband or my romantic partner coming in looking so stressed, that is not the time for me to pick up and tell him that there is something he did that was upsetting me. Read the room. It is very, very important. I see that you are unhappy. Somebody has offended you. Especially, you see, in Lagos, if you enter public transport in Lagos, you always come back upset and angry. Yeah. You understand? So you're coming back upset and angry, and then I am, you understand? Yep. Picking you up on something wrong that you've done. Read the room.
Or a lady on her period.
Read the room. Do you understand? Read. Somebody just broke my heart. Please read the room. Yes. Or I just, one business transaction did not come true. You understand that you are coming to tell me, read. I don't want to use vulgar words.
In that being polite, I think when you want to ask questions, because you asked how can you do it, I think you can also, there's this thing when people ask you a question, you repeat the question like in a like. You mean like maybe I don't know how to put this as an example. Like you can repeat the question back.
The question is how.
How is to.
No, the thing is, there are times that people tend to ask you how. How do we now? If you use the word how do we, I'm going to respond with we can, because you've decided to do how do we. Okay. Now you've also included me as you've included me in the dialogue. Yeah. So I will take ownership in that instance. We can do this by, and then I give you what my own insight is. Yeah. But sometimes it's this now, sometimes with the kind of way that we've been taught, the kind of way society has conditioned us, we just feel, in management we call it top down, we have bottom up. So, I just want to just give order from the top. I'm the man of this house, I am the boss, whatever I say is law. So if I tell you, you are not going anywhere. And then the thing is, you forget that the bottom up is you getting information. So imagine the company, let's say it's a manufacturing company now. And then you have sales rep, you have your merchandisers at the stores. People always go back to, a whole lot of them. That's why I've noticed that businesses in Nigeria are now catching up. You begin to have them in big stores now, having merchandisers going up and down. They get to engage you and ask you, oh, have you tried our products? Because the thing is, when you go and when those people are the people closest to the buyers. not even the people retailing. It is people selling, the retailers, the people, the merchandisers who just walk up to them, oh, you post products, is this, is that now. By the time they give that feedback, you see, it goes through the ranks, through the channels, and then goes to the top. So such, by the time you want to make decisions, at the point I felt Nigerian businesses, it took time to adapt. But once they started adapting, feeling what the market was, that was where the advent of sachetization came in. They started to put everything in sachet, including the other ones that have just been banned. Because you just feel, people just said, no, the earning income is dwindling. Now, if you could take this off the package and make it cheaper, and then you see everybody started from the tea to the salt,
oil,
even vegetable oil, everybody started to sachet. Now, that is because they've been able to read and then feel the impulse. But as much as possible that you are trying to balance that, another thing I always encourage in communication is never ever make an assumption. Because there's this particular video I watch and it's stuck into my head. It says, assumption is you making an ass of you and I. So I will never assume, I will rather seek clarity.
Yes.
Yeah. On that assumption, like there was this little write-up that I read just recently. I think the lady, she's a twin, and then she walked into a room seeing her other twin kissing her fiancé. And then she left the room, and then she broke ties with the twin. The twin, our assumption would be, why would the twin do that to her other twin? But then the other twin because she broke up, she built up a wall that no one can even, there was no way to communicate with her. And then when the other twin died, she had to go back to the house, and then she started reading the letters, the things the other twin was writing, everything, because she couldn't communicate with her other twin. Then she realized that it was the boyfriend that actually kissed her twin, and she was trying to draw back. And then the guy did it intentionally because they were too close and he wanted to break them off. And when she confronted the guy said, yes, she did it. But she assumed that the twin did that to her, and then she did not communicate with her twin till she died. And now she realized that after her death.
What's the word of regret that would be for her at that moment,
All right, let's go a short break and then we'll explore our other options.
Qualities that you feel make you a man, to go deeper into yourself, your strength, your bravery, your toughness. Can we redefine what those mean and use them to explore our hearts? Are you brave enough to be vulnerable, to reach out to another man when you need help, to dive headfirst into your shame? Are you strong enough to be sensitive, to cry whether you are hurting or you're happy, even if it makes you look weak? Are you confident enough to listen to the women in your life, to hear their ideas and their solutions, to hold their anguish and actually believe them, even if what they're saying is against you? And will you be man enough to stand up to other men when you hear locker room talk, when you hear stories of sexual harassment, when you hear your boys talking about grabbing ass or getting her drunk? Will you actually stand up and do something so that one day we don't have to live in a world where a woman has to risk everything and come forward to say the words "me too"?
So welcome back. All right, so from the clip now, how do we suggest that we redefine communication? How do we redefine this communication such that men actually can express themselves without coming out as stoic, without coming out as being arrogant, without being seen as being insensitive?
I think I should listen to understand, not to defend myself whenever, especially if it is between me and my wife, or because most times we try to, the person is just talking, we are not listening. We are just trying to defend ourselves. So I also want to say that I should also try to put myself in the person's position. Sometimes all you need to do is to think, what if I am in this person's position? Do you understand? Talking about emotional intelligence, I think that is part of it. Try to put yourself in the person's position, and that will help me to communicate better. And like they say, if we are not communicating, we can't really have anything. We can't really build anything if we are not really communicating. And most importantly, like I will always say, we should upgrade ourselves. We should read. We live in a world where everything is very cheap now. Okay, just little MB, you will read a lot. So read about who you are. Read about who a man is. Read about. I think that will help us to redefine. I'm not supposed to flow along with the society, with what they expect from me. No, I should be able to find out who I should be.
Okay. Now, TJ, how sensitive should a man be?
Being sensitive does not mean the man should tolerate disrespect. Being sensitive does not mean that the man should bring himself to that point where he loses his respect, right? But being sensitive means that you're cautious of the other person's feelings, you acknowledge their emotions, and then you relate with them at that level, okay? If you are sensitive, it helps to create this balance that promotes safety. People around you will always they'll feel safe to communicate with you, express themselves to you, even sometimes confide in you, okay, because they know that this is a no judgment zone, right? So they are free to talk to you. So it helps to create this safety that you yourself will even feel valued. Okay, but when you are that insensitive, people will tend to run away from you. Even your children, when they make the worst mistakes, you see them running away from you. They rather go confide in strangers. You see them writing anonymous messages on the internet, which will worsen the situation. Okay, you push people away from you who should come to you. One example that I remember closely is that of, or two. One is that of Adam. Okay, when he sinned and God said, Adam, where are you? He hid himself because of the shame, And at that time, he did that because he really did not understand the fatherhood of God at that time. But if you look at the story of the prodigal son, he said, I'm going to arise and I'm going to go to my father. While he was afar off. If you also look at Jesus on the cross, like he said, and the thief said, you cannot save yourself. You want to save me. And he said, tonight you shall meet me in paradise. He didn't waste his breath on the other one to curse him. You understand? He still had that control over his emotions. Even when he told Peter, you will deny me 3 times. And Peter said, God forbid. I am amazed at the level of self-control Jesus had. And no wonder it is a part of the fruit of the Spirit. Self-control. So if you must attain that level of maturity, you must learn to control yourself. Learn to control your emotions. So that at times when your emotions trigger this, should I call it basal nature, primitive nature, want to lash out, you control yourself, and then you are able to regulate, you are able to, express yourself without being hurtful. So being sensitive is not a minus in any way.
All right. So, IT, how do we balance compassion with assertiveness?
Yeah, that's the way to live. You can be assertive, you can be firm, but also consider the other person's emotion. It's emotional intelligence, because when it's good to, because for efficiency, people for people to learn, because for people to understand what you're trying to pass across, you don't have to be how do I say this, when you don't know how to communicate firmly, it's not a good thing, because the whole thing, you need efficiency. So if you in a relationship, for efficiency, for that relationship to keep growing, you need to be empathetic with your partner. If it's a business, you need to be assertive for efficiency and also be empathetic towards. Just create an environment where people understand that we need to be productive, but also we are appreciated here. People, they see us here, they hear us here, and we are valued here. So that's. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. It's been a wonderful show so far. Like I said, for me, it's always a learning curve coming here every time. I'm sure you've learned I'm sure you will apply the lessons. And for those not so good habits that have been talked about, I'm sure you're going to unlearn them to relearn the good ones and be a better person, be a better man, communicate better, be nice. It won't cost you anything. So we'll come your way next time. Please follow us on all social media handles, Dominion Broadcast. Share, like, comment, provide your feedback to us. Have a wonderful weekend.